When I turned 40, I had sworn off the shapewear game. However, a friend of mine told me that she recently tried Honey Love and is totally converted. So she talked me into it and I tried Honey Love shapewear. I got their Superpower short and I gotta admit, I am back on the shapewear train. I love it. And this is like no other shapewear I've ever had before. It cinches in all the right places. I can actually breathe. It's comfortable. I like literally forget it's there. And now because I have it, like my wardrobe has opened up so much. There's so many dresses and outfits that I can wear confidently, and going to the store is like no problem. So treat yourself to the most advanced bras and shapewear on the market. Use our exclusive link to save 20% on Honeylove at honeylove.com/bravopapers. That's honeylove.com/bravopapers. After you check out, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Experience the new standard in comfort and support with Honeylove. Hello, everyone. I know I missed you all last week. It was just an incredibly busy week at work, so I needed the time, but I am going to make up for it, I promise, because I've got a jam-packed episode today, all Summer House, and then I'm going to be bringing you another jam-packed episode this week, so 2 episodes this week to make up for last week, and the other episode will be all the other news in the city, Ladies of London, Rhode Island, Atlanta, New Jersey, Beverly Hills, Southern Hospitality, Southern Charm, the Valley, Vanderpump Rules, Miami, like every show will be on the next one. So look out for that. I'm going to try to get it out on Tuesday. If not, it will definitely come out this week with all your other news. But for now, enjoy a comprehensive breakdown of Summer House news, Summer House news. Welcome to the Bravo Papers, a safe space for all us Bravo fans who love to analyze, deconstruct, and talk about our favorite Bravo shows ad nauseum. So join me, Bravo and Botox, and we'll catch up on all the Bravo news and read way too much into our favorite shows and Bravo celebrities. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bravo Papers, Bravo Weekly News, here with your host, Emily, here to bring you all the tea, gossip, news, word on the street, all that good stuff about the Bravo world. And we have a lot because I missed last week. Well, I didn't miss it. I kind of skipped it because I just needed to. Because it was a crazy, crazy week at my regular job and yeah, something had to give. So this week I'm kind of playing catch up. I'm going to have 2 episodes and split the news because there's a lot and we'll do it that way to make up. So you get 2 episodes this week. So let's start with Summer House because there's a lot for Summer House as usual. And, you know, we had that final aftermath episode. I mean, it was fine. I don't know. Like, I'm like, kind of like, send it back in the mail. Like, I don't know. It didn't do anything for me. Like, it didn't really clear anything up, or like, I just felt like maybe like a lot of people, like it was kind of an attempt at like, West is the villain, let's rehabilitate Amanda's image, etc. And you know, that I'm just not buying and I'm just not into that. And like, I don't think that Lindsay, like, I don't blame Lindsay, and it's not because I'm like a Lindsay stan, because a lot of you know I love Lindsay, but like, it's not, but I honestly have seen kind of Lindsay from the start. She seems the most pissed about the show. Like, she seems like she is fighting for the show, you know? She's got this apartment and this life that she's built, and she's fighting for Summer House to keep going. And, you know, and they don't know, is In the City going to be successful? Is it going to get us? Like, they don't know any of that stuff. So, you know, it's kind of like what I see from her is like, let's keep these shows going and kind of like resuscitate them. I don't necessarily see it as like she just loves Amanda so much that she just has to make sure everyone loves Amanda. Like, I just don't see it that way. Um, because I don't even think that Lindsay really likes Amanda that much. Like, I think they kind of joined forces on In the City because they were like the summer house girls, and and I think Lindsay didn't know who was going to be coming at her in terms of like Danielle coming on and that kind of stuff. So I think it was sort of like it was mutually beneficial, but I don't think that they're real. Like, I think in the real world, if these shows didn't exist, would these two be like good friends? No, they've never liked each other. No, and I don't care what they say. Okay, they have their moments, and I think a lot of their moments are just based on like circumstances. Like, well, we're just forced to hang out every summer. But I think overall, it's like, you know, Lindsay has never liked her from day one. Amanda has in turn not liked her back. And I think it's just been, up and down since then. And it's kind of like cordial at best. Like, I've never seen them bond in kind of any real way. Like, the only thing I can think of is when Lindsay announced that she was pregnant and Amanda cried. But I don't know. Amanda just seems like the type that would cry about someone being pregnant because that's just like kind of her personality. So I don't know how much it meant, but you know, it's also maybe like her first friend in that group that's having a baby. So it could be that too. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, they have this whole like aftermath episode, and then it's kind of all like, it's just like a moot point because then Amanda's going to Italy with West and they're like spitting in each other's mouths. So it's like, why? Why are we even trying to rehabilitate Amanda's image? Like, she clearly just doesn't give a shit. Like, that's really it, right? And anything that she pretended, like, if anything, it just showed me even more how good of a liar she is. Like, all her like guffaws and like eye rolling in that scene with the stuff that Lindsay was telling her about West. It was all just bullshit. Like, she's just a good liar, which I've always known because she's a fake person. Like, fake people are good at lying. And that's why I've never really liked her or Paige. If you want me to be honest, I find Paige to be fake. And I think she's another one who lies a lot. I think that's why her and Craig worked for a while because he's also a liar. Just sorry. I know people are going to like this, but it's true though. She's dating that Joe D'Amelio guy. She lied about it for a long time. I'm saying, no, you're not. I don't even think and like now she's like gives people these little tidbits. Like, I know she wants to keep it private, but you lied about it. You lied about it because you knew it would look bad to jump from one boyfriend to the next. It doesn't fit the narrative of your like girl boss feminism. Um, so that's it. And I think Amanda's been the same way. Amanda, whose bikini line, and I'm not saying Paige would do like what Amanda did. I don't know. Maybe she would. I don't know. But like Amanda's bikini line logo was literally like the ultimate girls girl. Like, these girls are fake. They always have been. That's why they're a little mean girl clique. And that's it. And they only care if they're wronged, if it like affects them or one of their friends. But if it affects like the general population of women or, the system that keeps women down or women of color and stuff like that, they don't really give a shit about that. They just give a shit about themselves. And that's what I've always said. And I stand by it to this day. So yeah, let's get into some actual news instead of just me on a random tangent. Okay. So Dumois got this blind soon after the aftermath episode. Mutual friend has spent a lot of time with West and Amanda since statement came out, said they're really tense around each other, and that since they returned from Italy, the relationship seems to be falling apart and wouldn't be surprised if breakup was coming soon. Okay. Yeah, I mean, duh. Like, I could have written that blind in. Like, is that really news? I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm the one who chose to share that with you guys, so I'm making it news, but but it's like, yeah, I mean, the breakup is going to come at some point. So I would expect, and this is like, let's all adjust our expectations here. We all need to start expecting and knowing that blinds are going to be coming over the next few months about the breakup's coming, the breakup's coming, the breakup's coming, because everybody wants to be the one who calls the breakup coming, especially accounts like Dumois who want to be, and I'm not saying like Dumois is always wrong or is always right, because they are sometimes right and sometimes wrong. But, when it comes to the Amanda West thing, they were right. So I'm not like against listening to them when it comes to that. But yeah, I think you're going to get a lot of accounts and fans kind of predicting or like saying they have inside tea. And it could just be people throwing things at the wall to see what sticks and being like, see, told you guys, if they end up being right, because the chances are pretty high that at some point you're going to put out a prediction or tea and then it's going to come true, because at some point they will break up. Again, I think it's going to last longer than people think it's going to last. I don't think that people realize, like, maybe they do now, I don't know, but I don't think people realize like how spiteful Amanda and West are. I think that they will literally do this out of spite for a long time. Like, I think we're going to see like a year at least of dating, because they're going to need to prove to people, basically, you guys are wrong. We're like, this is true love. We're soulmates or whatever. And then eventually they'll break up. Yes. Like, because they, they're still humans. There's only so long people can keep like something like that going. But I don't think it's not going to be like, I don't think we're going to get a breakup in like the next like 2 weeks or something like that. I could completely eat these words and be totally wrong, unless something like huge happens, like he like has sex with someone right in front of her. I don't know. Or unless West is like, well, I'm not on Bravo anymore, so what the hell do I care? Which that is actually a possibility, because now she's the only one who has kind of like a Bravo reputation to try and keep up with. He doesn't really, and if anything, for him, it's almost better for him to just lean into the villain thing. So I don't know. I guess we're going to see. I don't know. Maybe I just talked myself out of my prediction on the spot. So Real Moms of Bravo posted this on Threads. What I want to know is, why did Amanda still go to Italy with Wes when her ex and friends are convincing her, this man is manipulative? If Hubbs is as honest with her as we imagine her to be, she's still choosing to travel to Italy and spit in his mouth. At some point, you have to let the sinking ship sink. Lindsay replied to this saying, correct. After I talked to Amanda on tomorrow's episode, once we wrapped, she told me she was still going to go to Italy, and that's when I knew. That's when I knew. And then it says, insert your last line here. Oh, I guess she means like you were right or whatever. Okay. And then we also found out, as I kind of mentioned, so yeah, like Lindsay threw her a lifeline. Like, she threw her like, this is your last hope. Here it is. And you're very lucky that, like, big sister Lindsay was willing to do this. I'm throwing you a life preserver. And Amanda, she stabbed the life preserver and cut it open, let the air out. Like, she's not. Amanda will always choose. Here's the thing about women who are male centered, and I think it's hard to believe. I think it's hard for women who are not male centered, like Lindsay, to wrap their heads around. Like, I think Lindsay's like, listen, I could talk her out of this. I could get her to see that, like, your career, your public reputation, your brand deals, money, like for Lindsay, all that stuff is as important, if not more, than a relationship. And I think she's like, I can talk her out of this. Like, I'll get her to dump this guy. Like, she just needs to sit down and have like a talking to and see what an idiot she is. And then she'll be like, all right, I'll break up with him. But yeah, no, she's going to Italy. And I think it's hard for women like Lindsay or like myself to wrap our heads around like choosing a man over everything that Amanda could have had. Like magazine covers and opportunities and money and a career and, real kind of power and status and reputation and a future and like a future where she doesn't have to depend on a guy at all. And she's still going to choose Wes, because for her not choosing West is the scariest thing. Like, and I think that's what people don't understand. Like, for people like Amanda, not choosing the guy is very frightening. Whereas for a lot of other people, like not choosing like the stability and the career and the thing that you can count on because you're in control of it, not another person, that would be the scary thing, but not for Amanda. And that's it. And she's not going to change until she changes. And some women never grow out of that. Some do. Some it might take till they're like 50 or 60. Like, who knows? Right. Like and unfortunately, I think she's going to realize it and grow out of it probably like when it's way too late. And it's sad. It's actually really sad. And she's only screwing over herself. So like she's going to give herself all the karma that is coming. Right. Meanwhile, again, sorry, this is the day of tangents. And now I just closed my summer house folder. God damn it. Okay, guys. So Wes Wilson has been fired. It was announced, on a bunch of Instagram accounts, etc. But then I saw that People magazine had picked it up and I was like, okay, that's when you know it's official. So People reports Wes Wilson will not return for season 11, which makes sense because it's like starting to film like now. So obviously they, like, to me, this is not surprising at all. Like, I never thought they were going to have Wes back. And I don't know, like, to me, it's obvious they wouldn't be having Amanda back on Summer House. Like, to me, I was thinking like I was fully in the headspace of like Kyle, Lindsay, Carl, like, or not, maybe not Carl, but like Kyle and Lindsay and Amanda, like none of them are coming back to Summer House. Like at the end of last season, they had that kind of like ending that seemed like a goodbye and everyone was like, oh my God, Kyle's and Lindsay are crying and all this stuff. And that means that Summer House is over. And I was like, no, I thought like we all knew this. Like they have a new, like in the city, they're transitioning and that's what we're doing. Like I didn't understand why some people online were so like blown away by this. But so I'm more surprised that they're coming back for this new season. However, from what I have heard in interviews and things like that, okay, so I was going to go to this later, but we might as well go to it now. Lindsay was on Carl Radke's podcast. What's it called again? More Life. And basically she said that, or maybe it wasn't that interview, it was a different one. Yeah, I think it was a different one because I am going to talk about that. But yeah, basically she said in an interview that she felt, sorry, I don't even know where it's from. I'm so lost. Okay. She felt good about passing on the baton. Okay. Like to Jesse, West, etc. Okay. However, she did give West a talking to about, that he can no longer be coasting on other people's backs is what she told him. And she said she also spoke to him about like, you can't just like be having fun and hanging out in the background and whatever. Like you have to actually be real and, do shit basically. Which good. I'm glad she gave him that talking to. Was he going to listen? No, he was never going to listen because being real would have been, not him and Amanda not trying to hide that shit. Like he's never going to do that because he's not that type of reality star. Him and Amanda are not cut from the same cloth as a Lindsay or a Kyle. Okay. Kyle and Lindsay are more of the same cloth as like the original Vanderpump Rules cast, where like they come to play and they share it. Whereas the Amanda, the Paige, sorry to put Paige in this thing, and even Sierra a little bit, especially at the beginning, she opened up more as the seasons went on. But I think some of the reason is because she was so influenced by Amanda and Paige. They're more of a like, let me kind of try to control my image more, like a little bit more on that path. Not like 100%, because at the end of the day, things come out, right? And I think that, that type of reality star, like a Lindsay, and I don't even mean that as like an insult to like all the newer reality stars, but they're just like, it's just a different type. I don't know how else to say it than like those original ones that we just don't get those ones anymore. We just don't get as many of them that are just, that's why everyone is loving Rhode Island so much, because we're getting a lot of that, which is great. So yeah, but the people who are trying to like curate their image a little too much, and like that's West. He's an image curator. Like he's maybe the worst one. Because like he saw how being a fuckboy on Bravo sucked and how being the hero is going to be so much better. And he curated it. So that's it. And like that's the kind of, so he's in that bucket of reality stars. And those aren't always bad 100%. That's not what I'm saying. But, I think Lindsay was kind of like, if you're going to like be the new center of this show, like you have to bring something. I don't know if he would have. I don't know what could have happened. I don't know. Like I don't know if the show would have been good or what, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Like we can't do all of that when it comes to this because we don't know. But I do think that the show is going to be just fine without him. When I turned 40, I had sworn off the shapewear game. I was done with shapewear. It's too uncomfortable. It's too constricting, or it does nothing and it's rolling up and flipping down and all that kind of stuff. And at this age, I need to be comfortable. However, a friend of mine told me that she recently tried Honey Love and is totally converted. So she talked me into it and I tried Honey Love shapewear. I got their Superpower short and I gotta admit, I am back on the shapewear train. I love it. And this is like no other shapewear I've ever had before. It cinches in all the right places. It's not too constricting. I can actually breathe. It's comfortable. I like literally forget it's there. And now because I have it, like my wardrobe has opened up so much. There's so many dresses and outfits that I can wear confidently, and going to the store is like no problem. And I love that it is a female founded brand because unlike Bethany in season 10 of Roni, I support other women. So treat yourself to the most advanced bras and shapewear on the market. Use our exclusive link to save 20% on Honeylove at honeylove.com/bravopapers. That's honeylove.com/bravopapers. After you check out, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Experience the new standard in comfort and support with Honeylove. Every spring, summer, I try to add a couple of new items to enhance my backyard. One thing I've always wanted is Adirondack chairs. I have some cheap plastic ones, but they already have cracks. They don't look great and they take up so much room in the garage. That's why I went on Wayfair and I got a weather-resistant folding Adirondack chair and I love it. It comes in a bunch of colors. I got the dark green and it folds up. So putting it in the garage over the winter is no issue. And honestly, if you've never tried Wayfair, I highly recommend. So much selection. It was easy to find the exact chair I wanted, and all these big items ship for free. Like I bought 3 of the folding Adirondack chairs and it all shipped free. And I knew they were high quality beforehand because there were already thousands of reviews. Wayfair has 20 million 5-star reviews and many include pictures, so you can really see what the item looks like and imagine it in your home or your space. Patio season is here, and these deals won't last. Head to wayfair.com right now to get your outdoor space ready for way less. That's WAYFAIR.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Like, I think, Jesse, Sierra, like all these people who are expected to come back. And now we have Lindsay, Kyle, and Carl who are expected to now do their transitional season. Because basically in this interview, Lindsay said that the originally last season was supposed to be the transitional season, but now because of all this shit that happened, they're going to be having a new transitional season. Okay. And from what I've heard, according to, hang on, let me find it, because I literally just saw this before I started recording. It wasn't even in my original feed. Okay, so this is according to Bravo and Cocktail, so it is unverified. So this is internet tea, but Kyle, Carl, Jesse, Mia, and Bailey back full time. And those are all strong people. Like those are all, I think, strong reality stars. Lindsay back, but she's going to be in and out of the house like last year. Sierra will have appearances through. Yeah, I think Sierra is going to be sort of like Lindsay, like, because now she's so like booked and busy. So I think she'll be making appearances. KJ's not returning and Dara is out as well. Ben was not asked back either. Maybe unpopular opinion, I would have been okay with Ben, but I do think that like at the end of the day, when you're in like a serious relationship, I think a lot of times they see that as like a downfall for the Summer House show, because it's like, well, what are you going to bring if you're just already in a relationship? Like, it's basically like, I know we're not supposed to say this, but the show is basically like, who's going to hook up with who? Like, that is kind of a lot of it, right? I understand Dara not coming out since KJ is not there, and I understand KJ not being there. Maybe he'll be able to come back in the future, but I think right now, he was just in an inpatient program. Like, maybe this is not the best time for him, obviously, and he should work on his mental health. I think that's the right decision. But apparently there are going to be 5 or 6 newbies, including girls named Jamie and Jolie, a friend of Mia's, and 2 or 3 guys who are connected to Jesse, Carl, and Kyle. And it sounds, not confirmed, but sounds like no Amanda. I mean, why would you need Amanda? She's completely useless. She's always been useless and boring on the show. At least Paige was funny and had like funny confessionals and stuff. Like, Amanda doesn't even have that. Like, she has like really nothing. Like, I don't know what she brings. She brought her fights with Kyle, but all her entertainment value to me always revolved around Kyle. Sorry. And now Kyle and her are separated. We have beat their divorce. If their divorce was a dead horse, like, we've beaten the dead horse beyond recognition. So it's kind of like, there's no need. We don't need to dissect that divorce anymore. We really don't. No one wants to see her in West. And Amanda on her own is like, wah, wah. So like, get out of here. Bye. We don't need you. Okay. So Mother Hubbard was also on, like I said before, but I skipped ahead, but she was on Carl Radke's podcast. You may have heard his podcast advertised here, actually, because him and I did a, what's it called? A swap where we advertised our podcast on each other's podcast. So that made me really happy, guys, because I like Carl. Okay. And I have gone in on Carl so hard in the past because I am a Lindsay stan, as many of you know. So when it came to that relationship, I was on Team Lindsay. But like Lindsay, I also can forgive and move on, and I think if Lindsay can see a friendship with Carl, I can be a fan of Carl's. I've never disliked Carl. That's the thing. I've actually always thought he was at the core, a good person. However, he has things about him that I have not always been a big fan of. I have very much empathized and related to his struggle with addiction. Not that I'm an addict, but I have a very close family member who I have been extremely involved in their recovery, etc. So, I also really related to his journey. I also related to Lindsay's journey of being in a relationship with someone who is in recovery, and the paranoia and anxiety it can bring that doesn't always come out in the most politically correct ways and things like that. So, I really did empathize with them. And that was one of the reasons I like Carl, because I think he is doing a good job, and it is difficult. And I think he's a good role model. And I think he also is the type of guy who's not afraid of like, I think he once was, but I have always appreciated that, a lot of people are like, oh, Lindsay's so mean with her advice and stuff. He takes advice well. Like, he knows he needs someone to be like, Carl, what are you doing? This is stupid. We're not doing that. Let's do this. Or you need to be realistic. You want to open a brick and mortar with no alcohol to help you pay. Like, and he was like, yeah, she was right. And there were things I needed to think about and da-da-da. Like, he's kind of he's that type of guy. He needs a bit of a shake. And I think he responds well to it. And I think that's why the two of them go so well together. They're one of those rare opposites attract, but they attract as friends. Okay. And I will never stand them as a couple. Like people who are like, oh my God, they're endgame. No, they're friends and that's it. And just let them just be friends and keep that going forever. They're not meant to be in a relationship. Okay. So Lindsay and Carl basically on the podcast were like, fuck West. And nobody burns down our house except us, which I loved. That was Lindsay's line. Because yeah, she said one thing that kind of brought her and Carl back together was like, she says, quote, I also think that with this scandal within our cast, we almost instinctively band together to protect our house, ... No one's going to burn down our house except us. And, her and Carl laughed, etc. And exactly, it is exactly that. Like, who do you think you are coming in here, messing with, like, I don't know if Wes thought, oh, a house divided is a house that I can take over. Like, look, Lindsay and Carl hate each other. Kyle and Amanda hate each other. And I do think that's part of it. I think he saw like a lot of the brokenness, but I also don't think that he realized, and I think he saw behind closed doors what we didn't see, which was that Amanda didn't really care for Sierra and was jealous of her the whole time. And then with Paige gone, that's kind of like, I can see why West was like, oh, this house is like ripe for the taking. Like, I'm going to get in there. I'm the new star. Everyone loves me. I'm funny. I'm without trying too hard. People like my political views online. People have, like, for the most part, forgiven me for the Sierra thing, and I'm going to make it better by putting on a whole show this summer. I'm going to be the new like king of Summer House. These guys have a spinoff coming. They're leaving. Like, I know exactly what was going through that little pea-sized brain of his. Okay. He thought he had it in the bag. Okay. But at the end of the day, he thinks he's smarter than he is, which is the downfall of so many men. Big ego, not that bright, but think they're bright. Like, that really is the downfall here. I mean, it's really like the classic Tom Sandoval as well. Like, he thought he could outsmart everyone. Like, it's just, tale as old as time. Okay. So yeah, because apparently there's this article that came out, and this was kind of spurred on by Lindsay, that West had actually tried to get her and others fired from the show. So that was kind of like the crazy thing. And then Lindsay, like after that Aftermath episode, she gave some details on Threads, and she said, good morning. Hope everyone slept well last night. I know I did. Or maybe this was after it was announced that he was fired. But anyway, she put, woke up with some more thoughts if anyone cares. Maybe Wes Wilson should go on his podcast and publicly apologize to me for using my daughter as clickbait and a decoy to distract from his secret relationship with Amanda. Instead of talking shit about the show he was so fortunate for me to put him on. Number 2, Wes has tried to threaten my career show now 3 times, and it's quite frankly disgusting. No other word to describe it. First, when he went on a podcast after I had Gemma and told everyone there's no way I could come back to Summer House. We should have known then he's not smart, but here we are. Then with his diabolical decision-making skills to manipulate Amanda into dating him. Okay, I don't agree with you. I don't think he manipulated her, Lindsay. And threatened the status of our friend group and future of the show. And now trying to get people not to watch Tuesday's episode that he participated in, by the way. So that's the kind of dude he is, in case anyone still has questions. Okay, so sorry, I got my timeline mixed up. So this is before the Aftermath episode of Summer House. But after West was like trying to get people not to watch the episode and saying that he hopes the Knicks lose or, whatever. So yeah, that was kind of Lindsay's rant. And then she said, I'm on an airplane at the moment. Otherwise, I would post a video. But I say West manipulated Amanda because he is the one who initiated this fuckery. He is the one who said, hey, is it me? Or like, do we like each other, or whatever the fuck his hot dog smelling ass said. Yes, Amanda is a grown ass woman and makes her own big girl decisions. And yes, she needs to deal with those big girl consequences. You will see that convo between me and her in tomorrow's Aftermath episode. Meanwhile, West is still out with other girls and still talking to other girlfriends like a true F boy. Okay. But yeah, I think, Lindsay got a lot of backlash for that. And again, this was like kind of the week I took off randomly. I'm sorry, but she got a lot of backlash for like this kind of spin, and I don't know if at this point she still thought that, she was kind of on the, I don't know, like rehabilitate Amanda's image train at this point, or thinking like her in production, thinking they could save Amanda and keep her on In the City. Like, that's what I'm getting, is like, it's annoying, first of all, because, and I said this on Threads, I actually replied directly to Lindsay, and I said, Lindsay, we don't need this. Like, Amanda was not manipulated. She made her own decisions. She's a big girl, all that kind of stuff. And the other thing that I said in my reply to her was, she's not going to be there for you. One day in the future, if you ever have a scandal or you do something that the audience hates and she's still on In the City with you or whatever, this girl will throw you under the bus, no problem, if it means making her look good or saving her ass. She's never going to be there for you. Amanda is, as many have said, she's a vampire. She sucks from other people to get what she needs for herself, and she never gives it back. And Sierra has said that too, and it's absolutely true. She's an emotional friendship vampire. And when has she ever been there for Lindsay, ever? She never has. The only nice moment I can remember, again, is her crying when Lindsay said she was pregnant. Besides that, never. Okay? When Lindsay and Carl broke up, Amanda was jumped right on the train of Carl is the innocent victim and everything is Lindsay's fault. And her and the rest of that cast all went in on Lindsay. And it was disgusting. And I stand by it. My opinion that it was disgusting. I mean, so I'm like, Lindsay, don't waste your breath. Like, so that's why a part of me is like, this has to be like show ratings, production wanting to keep Amanda on the show. Because I do think the production wants to keep Amanda on In the City, because I think they want to see the fallout of her and West. Because listen, all they give a shit about is ratings and money, and all they're getting from this West Amanda thing is ratings and money. You don't make an extra Aftermath episode because you're not making money off advertisers, etc. I don't think they want to fire Amanda off of In the City. But I also think they know they can't really justify it. And with how much the audience wants rid of her. So I think they are like, keep her on In the City. And Lindsay, help us, get people to hate her a little bit less, so we can at least keep her on In the City, so we can see this dumpster fire of a relationship between her and West crash and burn, right? And Lindsay, who always puts the show first and always puts her paycheck first, she's going to do it. And I think that's what she's doing. And that's me giving a very empathetic take, because I don't agree with her about Amanda being manipulated. I don't agree with any of that. If anything, I think Amanda is an equal manipulator. And I think, if anything, she was in some ways more manipulative when it comes to friendships. I think Wes was more manipulative of like the women in his life who he's romantically involved in, 100%. Amanda is a manipulator of her friends. And to me, that's almost more fucked up in many ways. But yeah, listen, at the end of the day, they're both assholes and losers. Okay. One thing that's always been a problem for me when it comes to skincare is the routine. I just don't have time in the morning or the motivation at night after a long day to do like some long 10-step routine that's so complicated and time consuming. And often it doesn't even make that big of a difference. That's why I love OneSkin. Their products aren't about hype or fancy packaging. They're backed by science and they actually work. Since I started using their OS1 face moisturizer, I've noticed big changes in my skin's texture, and I don't do a lot. I wash my face, then I apply the OS1 moisturizer and eye cream, and that's it. But it's made a huge difference. My skin feels smoother, it looks brighter, and I found that it doesn't get as oily by the end of my workday. Born from over a decade of longevity research, OneSkin's OS1 peptide is proven to target the visible signs of aging, helping you unlock your healthiest skin now and as you age. For a limited time, try OneSkin with 15% off using code BRAVOPAPERS. at oneskin.co/Bravo Papers. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code Bravo Papers. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Summer is here, finally, and it always makes me rethink my wardrobe, especially when it comes to pants. I have this pair of white jeans that I got years ago, but I find myself never reaching for them because they're just so stiff and uncomfortable, especially when I'm sitting and doing work. That's why I'm so happy I discovered Quince. They have by far the most comfortable denim I've ever tried. I bought their Bella Stretch straight jeans in white, perfect for summer. And honestly, I would live in them if I could. And most importantly, they are not see-through, which is such a hard find with white denim. But Quince's clothes are high quality and for a reasonable price. Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen, so you're paying for and getting quality, not a brand markup. Elevate your summer wardrobe. Go to quince.com/Bravo Papers for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada, too. That's QUINCE.com/Bravo Papers for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Bravo Papers. One thing I've been putting off for a long time is getting a pair of prescription sunglasses, and let me tell you, I need them. When my family and I took a vacation in March, I couldn't even read my book on the beach because I needed my readers, but also sunglasses because it was so sunny. And that's when I knew it was time to get on it and go to Zenni. Zenni is an online eyewear shop. They have prescription glasses, sunglasses, blue light lenses starting at under $30. You just go to zenni.com, pick a frame, upload your prescription, and they ship it right to your door. No appointment, no store, no upsell at the counter. With Zenni, I was able to quickly and efficiently upload my prescription. I chose a pair of sunnies that I love, and they came straight to my door. They're really great quality. They're light on my face. They're comfortable, and I absolutely love how they look. I am set for summer. If your glasses are overdue for a refresh, now is the time. Go to zenni.com/podcast and use code podcast15 for 15% off your first order. The styles sell out, so don't sit on it. That's zenni.com/podcast. Promo code podcast15. So, we have that Aftermath episode. It comes out. I think it didn't do anything for anyone, really. Lindsay added on Threads, not seen / didn't make the edit. I told Amanda at the end of the convo, in order to be friends with me, I need my friends to show integrity, character, and better decision-making skills. And until that happens, unfortunately, there's no place for people like that in my life. So I guess she wanted to make it clear that she is not friends with Amanda right now. Or at least for now. I mean, I don't think Lindsay's leaving anything kind of like 100% no, just because it's strategic. But yeah, there was a lot of thoughts posted by her and Kyle on Threads that night. Kyle commented on a video of him and Wes conversation, one big fucking circular conversation. Yeah, exactly. Sierra too. Sierra posted like just a meme of Britney Spears yawning when it came to the West conversation. Kyle also said, because people were like, why did you even sit down with this guy? And Kyle said, Wes asked me for the opportunity to talk in person. He came in without a game plan and hadn't even watched the episodes. Step one in taking accountability when you're on TV. He didn't even plan on being honest about Meha until I dragged it out of him. Only thing I learned is that he isn't man enough to look me in the eyes, and he doesn't know what love is because even that answer he gave was a circular reference. I mean, yeah, I think Kyle is 100% right. Like, it's insane. Like, it's insane. It's all crazy. And then Kyle posted like a hypnotic circular kind of image and is like, what it's like talking to someone that relies on ambiguity and vagueness to dodge the truth. Holy word salad, more thoughts below. Yeah, I mean, he didn't really say anything of substance. And I mean, the dog thing was crazy. Like, and I don't know, I'm not like, I don't have a dog, but you know, I think people know their dogs and their dog's personality. And I think if Kyle says that the dog was acting in a way as though he knows Wes, then I believe Kyle. I have no reason to doubt these people's perception of it. Like Kyle, like, you know, not Wes and Amanda, but others. And then Kyle even posted a video of him and his dog. And, you know, the dog's like licking his face and he's like, yes, I know when you see someone you've met many times before. And he basically confirms, like, yes, he has met West. Like, this man has been to my apartment. They've probably, let's all just be real. Like, they've had sex in that apartment. They've had sex in West's apartment. Like, that dog has been brought to West's apartment. Like, that, like, let's just, you know, I'm not going to like give anyone the benefit of the doubt anymore. And then someone asked Kyle, was it the editing or did you really go that easy on him? And Kyle said, didn't have the energy or interest to attack him. I wanted to be like Alan Cummings on Traders and just be like, the floor is yours. But he can't have a conversation of any substance on his own. And then someone wrote, dog moment was wild, dude. And then Kyle said, that shook me right out of the gate. Yeah, I think it shook all of us. And then Lindsay said, can I just say I am so impressed and proud of Kyle's restraint during his sit down with West. And when he held on to Reese, like, you're not taking her too, it broke my heart. I know, it broke my heart too. He was like, took that dog away. He's like, no, you're staying with me. You are not, you are not going with this guy. That does suck. Kyle kind of has to like share custody of the dogs with West now because you know Amanda's with him all the time. Now, the other person who was getting some blowback online after this Aftermath episode was Meha, who was Wes' girlfriend or whatever for those years when he was playing Sierra and then sleeping with Amanda and, you know, the other half of Manhattan or whatever. But people were very taken aback by her having this like 6-hour conversation with Wes, as she tells Sierra on the episode, which, by the way, the scene with Meha and Sierra, it was honestly painful to watch. Like, it was so uncomfortable and like awkward. I felt like Meha was talking in like Gen Z Instagram comments or meme captions. You know what I mean? Like, it was reminding me of that girl, Tom Schwartz's girlfriend. It's like, do you know how to just speak naturally? It's like everything she was saying was like just like quotes from the internet, from like memes and TikToks that she's seen. Like, it just seemed very weird. And like, you know, the two of them are just there from like circumstances only. It was just, I just found it to be extremely awkward. Not that I got like a vibe that they don't like each other. It was nothing between the two of them. It was just like Meha's presence. She wasn't great on camera. She just didn't come off natural or like she had much personality. Like, and maybe she does, it just didn't come across on camera. So people were taken aback by her saying she was on the phone with Wes for 6 hours after the reunion. And then she replied and said, and if I want to yell at my ex for 6 hours straight, that's my God-given right. And then people were like, okay, girl, you were not yelling at him for 6 hours. And then she wrote, guys, I know it's pathetic to speak to an ex, but have we not all been down bad for a man? We shouldn't be. I loved him a lot and our relationship ended in the blink of an eye. I'm not trying to get back together with him. I promise. This has been one of the most heartbreaking experiences of my life, and it's been made even harder with it all being public for people to dissect. Sometimes I just need to yell and hear the person I care about the most apologize. I'm not proud of it, but I'll admit it. I'm so beyond thankful for Kyle, Lindsay, and especially Sierra for giving me the opportunity to tell my story. Sierra and I's bond over our shared experience is something that means the absolute world to me. I don't know what I would have done without her support. That's my girl, no matter what. Okay. I mean, even that kind of sounds like just like a little like I'm trying to get on TV. I'm not trying to be like cynical, and I have nothing against the girl. I think she's not made for reality television based on what I've seen. But I do think that it's weird. And I do understand people's point of view of like that she was sort of a little bit complicit in it. Like, do I believe that maybe Wes was telling her half truths about like what his relationship with Sierra was, how real it was versus how fake it was for the show. Like, do I believe that he would play it up? It is definitely fake. Sierra knows it's fake. We're all on the same page. You've got nothing to worry about. You're the one I love. You're my real girlfriend. Yes, I believe all of that. But do I believe that on the other side that maybe he was selling it to her a little bit like it could also be like, well, this girl, yeah, she's got this crush on me, but like we're not really, we don't really vibe like in a relationship way, but I have to kind of like, I have to kind of like just make something for the show. Like, yeah, I believe that as well. So it's hard to say, like, because it's sort of like feels like Mayha was okay with it when she was the one in on the secret with West. But then once she wasn't, and it was Amanda was the one who was like, and this is what happens when you have a bunch of pick-me's running around, but then you have Amanda and Amanda's like, I win, and then all of a sudden she's not okay with it. So I can see like the cynical view of it that people have, that she's kind of complicit with West, but I could also see that she was really convinced maybe that this was not a real relationship and it was just in the best interest of both him and Sierra to have a storyline, which it is possible that West could have convinced her of that. So I don't know. We'll never know the full truth, and that's probably kind of where it ends, right? Now, two judgy girls posted on Threads and said, who knows the date of PJ Clark's? Do we think Amanda knew about Sierra and West meeting up? We need to circle back on that. Lindsay replied and said PJ's was on March 6th, Friday, the same day we filmed Hot Ones, and Amanda dipped out before we even wrapped. We then went to InStyle to do social stuff, and me, Mia, West went to PJ's after for a drink and a bite. Mia surprised us with Sierra meeting up, and Sierra and West went in the back to talk. When they came back to the table, we all left and went to my apartment to hang with Gemma. Wes posted my daughter that night as a decoy while simultaneously going to meet up with Amanda right after. Wow, that's crazy. So, yeah, so I guess they didn't know, like Wes didn't know, especially that Mia was going to bring Sierra. And I guess they went back to talk. And that was when West would have been like, no, she's like obsessed with me, but like, I'm not like he would have done one of those and been like, I'm not into her, like nothing's happening. And then, yeah. And then I guess after that, he would have gone and hooked up with Amanda. It is funny too, because if you watch that Hot Ones, and when we were all trying to figure out if this was true or not, before they made their like official announcement, Amanda and West, I did post the Hot Ones video because I thought Mia was kind of throwing like shade at West in that video. Like she even says like West has the most to answer for. She gives him looks like you need to be kept under control, like stuff like that. I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was very much like she already suspected something. So I am not surprised at all that after the Hot Ones, she would have been like, surprise, me and Sierra are here, because all those rumors had been flying for a while at that point, and at least a month. And Amanda suspiciously doesn't show up. And then it is weird. Like there's and Amanda probably didn't show because maybe she didn't want to like be around West and Sierra at the same time. And it's, too awkward. I don't know. Oh, wait, sorry. Amanda did show up for Hot Ones, but she dipped out before they even wrapped. Okay, yeah. So she didn't want to go to like non-filming socializing, like to go to like the bar or whatever. Like, yeah, so she knew she was suspicious to everyone, right? Now, since all of this stuff has been happening, we've had more In the City episodes, including kind of seeing the real extent and reality of Amanda's messiness, which is wild. I mean, like you can afford, here's what annoys me is you are so privileged when your ex asks you to pay the back rent of $100 and whatever, $70,000 or whatever the hell it was, you were able to pay it like no problem. You can afford professional organizers. You can afford a storage unit. You can afford a maid, a professional cleaner. You're choosing not to. And I understand that there's people out there who literally cannot clean because of depression, mental health issues, who can't even get themselves up to do something as simple as taking a shower. I get that in a real way. Okay. I have anxiety and depression, and not just saying that like self-diagnosed. No, I'm diagnosed. I take medication. I take SSRIs. I get it. I really get it. Okay. I'm also lucky as well that I can afford to have someone to come in and clean for me twice a month. I'm very lucky I can afford that. I could use that money somewhere else. I'm not rich. It's not like I have extra money, but I very much put money towards it that, I could put towards debt or something, but because I know I'm not going to do it. I do know that. Granted, everyone's mental health, all that, it's different. It depends, whatever. I get it. I'm not going in on Amanda about that, but I think people make a lot of excuses for her. Like, I don't use it as an excuse, right? And I don't expect my husband and my child to live in filth and to live in a disaster of my stuff, right? Like, I just, I also have to, I live with other people. Like, I have to still think of those people. And if I'm struggling, they think of me and we kind of coordinate together. But here's my thing with Amanda is it seems like, everyone's individual situation's different. So it really depends. There's people like hoarding is a mental health thing. Like, the list goes on and on. Here's my thing with Amanda is I do feel she uses it as an excuse because now she's shown us that she does. It's not me just like assuming that or not giving her the benefit of the doubt. Now we've seen it on In the City because she purposefully left half her stuff because she just didn't want to pack it up and bring it over. And then when Kyle says, well, are you going to get the rest of your stuff? Then she's mad at him for not housing her junk. She's like, you're not going to let me keep all the rest of my junk at your house? How dare you? And she actually has the audacity. You left him, okay? You are choosing to leave him and move out. You're the one who initiated the breakup. And now you're angry because he wants his stuff out of the house or your stuff out of the house. I'm sorry, but that is psychotic, manipulative behavior. That's not depression speaking. Okay. And this is coming from experience. That's not depression. That's someone who's being an entitled, spoiled brat, period. Okay. And two things can be true. Amanda can have struggled with mental health and she can also be an entitled, spoiled brat. Okay. And rant. Okay. But my point is that somebody on Threads was like, people have been saying West's betrayal of Kyle was massive because of their close friendship. Sorry. And they've also said Kyle is a super sleuth for asking West if he's been to his apartment / met his dog. The dog is the smoking gun. But he didn't even, oh, wait, sorry. Oh, it's cut off. But he didn't even know. Wes had never even really been to Kyle's apartment. Like, how close could they have been? And then Kyle replied, which has gotten a ton of likes and reposts, and said, I couldn't invite any friends over for years due to the embarrassing state of our apartment. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how Kyle lasted this long. I don't know why Kyle didn't. Again, I was going to say, I don't know how Kyle didn't hire a professional organizers and stuff. Maybe Amanda wouldn't let him because she didn't want her stuff to get touched and moved or put in places she couldn't find it. I don't know. But I don't know. He's a better person than me. Okay, so that's crazy. That was like a really crazy thing. Meanwhile, the relationship is still going. Apparently, West is even officiating a friend's wedding, and he brought Amanda with him. So this was a blind to Dumois. One of something is getting married. It's blanked out. I know a friend of a friend who is attending. Guess who is officiating their wedding? None other than West. I can't commit Wilson, and Amanda is his +1. Apparently, they've already stated there is a no phone policy and everyone has to put their phone in a box before the wedding. So I hope we get pics, videos somehow. Just wanted to share the irony of someone who has never been loyal officiating the happiest day of someone's life built on loyalty and commitment. Do you understand the way that I would riot if I was a bride and I had to do a no phone policy because my stupid groom husband has to be friends with West and Amanda? and now I've got this annoying girl coming to my wedding, I would be like livid. And like you're taking away attention. Like I don't like any of it. I really don't. Maybe the no phone policy is not because of West and Amanda. Maybe they already had that. And if that's the case, they're just like really annoying people. Like I just wouldn't even want to be like, I can't have my phone. Like, what do you think? You're like Dave Chappelle doing a stand up at the Comedy Cellar? Like, fuck off. But what I will say is that unless these two people are celebrities of some kind, then it's okay. But I don't know. Are they? I don't know. I don't know. Now, before I get to kind of like the big news, which is West Wilson doing one of those whiteboard videos. One more thing. There was one more blind from Tout du Moi, okay, with a picture that somebody caught of West and Amanda. And it says, Lake Geneva, Gordy's. Amanda followed West to the bathroom and she stood at the men's room waiting for him. Friend asked him, "Are you getting married?" And West said, "Ask her." And Amanda said, "Yeah, no." The two of them love that. Yeah, no. No, yeah. Like it's, why do they say it's such a juvenile thing to say. Okay. They were making out and said, "I love you." Okay, congrats, guys. I'm so happy for you and your relationship. Okay, let's talk about the whiteboard. So this dropped like, I think Friday before the weekend. I don't know. It feels like I think it was Friday. Don't quote me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I think it was kind of a last ditch effort of like West giving his point of view or having his last word. And it was kind of like a way to go through, this is my perception of it. It was kind of like a way for West to go through every single thing that occurred in this scandal from top to bottom or from A to Z or whatever. And for him to say his piece, kind of like a reunion without cross-examination, really, like, and without like the victims of his actions present, and in the comforting space of his buddy's apartment and in the comforting presence of his two bros. And I will give them credit, like they do call him on shit and they do question him and they actually get some answers that we you know, for things that we'd been asking from before that were never answered. But I'm not going to give too much credit because they have control of editing. And I'm sure there's a lot of that. They are kind of holding his feet to the fire because they know that's what they have to do. And I'm sure some of it, like I like these two guys that he does the videos with. They're funny. I watched the whole whiteboard thing just before recording this, so it would be fresh in my head. And it was funny. I'm not going to lie. Like I laughed out loud, literally multiple times because of things that his friends said about him. And it was funny. And that was their goal. That's what they do with these I've always loved the whiteboard videos that they do. That was one of the reasons that was one of the only things that I was upset that would be maybe like ruined because of West and Amanda. I was like, well, now I can't laugh at West doing the whiteboard videos with these two guys because the three of them doing them, like they just have a really good chemistry. But yeah, so I thought they did a good job calling him out on stuff, holding his feet to the fire. They didn't give him any excuses or let him get away with stuff. But you know, that being said, all the jokes and all the stuff they called him on is all kind of stuff that has already been said on Reddit, on the internet, etc. It was sort of a regurgitation with funnier delivery. You know, it's not like anything was like new, but they did express disappointment in him and things like that. But again, I don't know, like being the ultimate skeptic as I am, I don't know what was said before the record button hit. Was it, okay, dude, we're going to be like, you're a fuckboy. How could you treat the women in your life like that? Da-da-da. And you have to just take it, okay? But like, we love you, bro. We're friends. Like, so we don't know what those pre and post conversations. Oh, sorry if I went too hard on you in that part, but you know, we have to do it for the audience. Like, you know, I could just see that. Okay. And again, it's not these guys' fault that their friend did all this. And they could legit love their friend but disagree with their friend's choices. That is also a reality of the world that's possible, right? But I'm just also skeptical of like dudes and their dude bro friends and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's my kind of overview. That being said, I thought they did a good job covering everything and going through it. West talked more than he has in other places. And again, it's just like on his podcast, like, he's able to talk so much more here than on the reunion. It's because West is not good with accountability. That's the real truth. His version of accountability is just like, okay, sorry, stop yelling at me. Like he just wants whoever's upset at him he just wants it to be over as fast as possible. It's like, so this and his podcast are good situations for him because he's with friends and it's not quote unquote scary for him, right? Like, whereas when he's face to face with like Lindsay, Jesse, Sierra, Kai, all the people who are actually legit mad at him, he can't handle it. And he just wants them to shut up. He doesn't want to go back and forth, right? And that's why he's doing this whiteboard video so that he can do the back and forth. But it's like, I'm just hanging out at my apartment, explaining it to my buddies. And I'm not like, I don't have to explain it to the people that I actually hurt. Right. And that kind of shows why, number one, West is not that good of a reality star. And number two, why he's not that good of a person. Because he's got a lot of growing up to do. Him and Amanda both. They're both stunted. They're both like, he's a boy and she's a girl. They're both like babies in ways. And it's not cute. And I'm not making excuses for them. I'm saying it's like, get your shit together. You're an adult, Okay. So one other thing that like popped out to me right away with this is I thought in this, they bring up like Jesse asking about hooking up with Sierra or whatever. West, this is like the most emotion he shows in this whole whiteboard thing is like, he's like, well, they were literally cuddling under the blanket, spooning in bathing suits. Like that was the only time he gets animated. And I'm like, this guy is so bothered. Like for him, so much of it is about competition and about winning. It is the male version of the pick me. Like, whereas like, it's like it's with Amanda, it's like, I need the guy who has many girls to like pick me because I'm the special one and I'm the one he's going to choose. Whereas with West, it's, I have to be the guy that wins all the girls and I need to be able to get your girl. So Sierra, I need to be able to get Sierra when Jesse can't. And if she goes for Jesse, then what does that say about like my skill with women and my game and whatever? Like it means I'm not that good, right? And he's very much like in competition with other guys a lot, even with the Kyle thing, like, oh, I'll show you what like a real man is, Amanda, like all this shit, right? And it's all delusional, of course. So that was one thing that really jumped out at me. The other thing that really jumped out at me was him kind of implying that Sierra lied to Lindsay. So during the whiteboard thing, they talk about how, there was the PJ Clark's thing. They were talking about how Sierra tells Lindsay, he pulled me aside and I asked him about this. And he said, Amanda's obsessed with me or whatever. And then we saw in the Aftermath episode that Lindsay tells Amanda that. And Amanda's like, he said that? And, in this, they're like, what's up with that? And West is like, well, that's a lie. And they're like, so you're saying that Lindsay is a bold-faced liar? And he's like, no, I'm not saying that. He's like, I'm saying that I did talk to Sierra about it, but I just like denied it. And he's like, I might have said like, sometimes she flirts with me or like something like that. And then he's like, broken telephone, it gets kind of twisted as it goes from like one person to the next and then back to Amanda. But so that was kind of his, but he does kind of cut himself off because he actually says, no, Lindsay didn't lie, see it. And then he stops. And then he's like, well, it's like broken telephone. And I was like, he was about to say Sierra was lying. He was about to say Sierra made that up. There is one person who has a unblemished track record for lying, and his name is West Wilson. So if anyone's lying, it's you. Do I believe that he was out with his friends all at the bar and they were all drinking and Sierra asked him about it and he was like, oh, that girl, she's always flirting. She's like obsessed with me. And then they both laughed. That's what happened. I guarantee that's what happened. Like West is the one lying. Like he's not going to admit that, of course, during this little whiteboard video. It's not going to happen. Okay. So let's go over kind of some of the key stuff that was mentioned in the whiteboard video. And then maybe we can finally put this West Amanda shit to bed. So according to West, he takes, and by the way, thank you to @TorontoPopZone for typing out this whole timeline based on what he said. Okay. So for those of you that haven't watched it and you just want the information, I mean, it is funny to watch, but if you don't want to give them a view, I get it. Go to @TorontoPopZone. They have this whole like outline written out and I'm going to go through it now as well. So September 25th, West takes Mia from Southern Hospitality on a date. Amanda pre-gamed it at his apartment. So he says that's normal, that he would do that with his friends from the show all the time. Okay, we believe that? No. I don't like, maybe he has, but it's weird to be doing that with Amanda, who's currently going through a separation from your friend Kyle, who's not a male friend, who's a female friend who you have expressed that you think is like so hot. So yeah, it is weird. Don't try to convince us otherwise. Then we skip all the way to January 26th. Amanda and Kyle announce their separation. February 8th, the Super Bowl. West is there with Sierra. Dave Portnoy later says that Brianna Chicken Fry told him West and Amanda were very much a thing. Okay, so West explains this as at some point, he drunkenly told Brianna that Amanda was hot and now single. That's his story. That's not. See, he's really relying on this like broken telephone thing. Like, oh, I just probably said she's like, oh, she's hot and now she's single. And that translated to very much a thing. No. Like I admit that the broken telephone world of rumor mill exists, but that's a stretch. Okay, that's a stretch. Even for me as a Bravo fan who has seen this stuff happen. And guess what? Most of the time when we see the quote unquote rumor mill on Bravo shows and things that go through many people's lips and ears, things do, the phrasing sometimes does get changed or whatever, but the core idea doesn't usually completely change. And that is completely different. And for Dave Portnoy, who I never want to have to talk about again because I hate this man, to later make this video and be like, yeah, they're a thing, they're together, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, why would he do that if it was just West being like, she's hot? I just don't think so. Because you know how many flippant conversations about someone being hot and single I'm sure West has had? And like, he's friends with Brianna Chicken Fry. So he would confide in her about that. Like it makes too much sense. Sorry, West. Okay, then late February, again, this is West's timeline, not the real timeline. This is West's pretend one. First kiss at a bar in New York City. West begrudgingly admits that he leaned in after the boys kind of put pressure on him. And then he's like, okay, it was me. March 5th, Dumois posts that Wes and Amanda are spotted openly flirting, holding hands at a New York City event. The internet loses its mind. Okay. Mid-March, a neighbor snaps an intimate video of Wes and Amanda through his apartment windows. Wes assumed there was an unspoken rule that neighbors in New York City just don't do that. There is not, according to people, humans who live in big cities. Okay. They're sorry. Like, I know people who live in like downtown Toronto in high rises. When they get naked and have sex, they close their blinds unless they want to be seen. Guess what? Like, that's not the unspoken rule. Okay. Video at risk of leaking. So then they get this rushed statement. Okay, Wes puts his notes in via Google Doc. Joint statement drops on Instagram. Connection confirmed. Wes calls the statement itself the stupidest thing he's ever done. He feels extremely embarrassed. They ask him, did you write it? He's like, no. Did Amanda write it? And he's like, no, we didn't write it. And then he says something about a notes app, and he says someone else wrote it. And they push him like, was it AI, etc. And he doesn't give a clear answer. So it seems like a publicist wrote it, but they did a terrible job. Okay, so here's where the weird stuff comes in. The what's it called? Discrepancies come in, not the weird stuff. It's all weird. The discrepancy is that at the reunion, they claimed nothing happened until the statement. That once they released the statement, then they slept together. So that nothing had happened prior. Now, West explains this in the whiteboard videos by saying they had kissed, they had sleepovers leading up to that, but they hadn't basically consummated the relationship until that night. Okay, so that's kind of his bullshit explanation. So I'm supposed to believe that these two who are like having this illicit, sexy, secret affair and are having sleepovers and making out and did not sleep together. I do not believe that at all. I just don't. And I never will. And there's nothing anyone's going to say that's going to convince me otherwise. Okay. So to give more detail, it's one of the guys in the video was like, so it was kind of like everything but until the statement. And West is like, yeah. And then he even said that they were like doing stuff for a long time leading up to that. So Lindsay, of course, took to threads in response to this whiteboard video and said, I'm confused about how they previously said that nothing happened until the end of February, but their statement came out on March 31st. So that's only 1 month later. But then on the whiteboards, Wes said they had been making out and having sleepovers for a long time prior to their statement. Because he even said, he's like, a long time, because she put like a bunch of G's. So what is a long time then? I'm assuming for Wes Wilson to consider something a long time, that's got to be longer than 1 month. Just saying, the timeline still isn't adding up and the pathy is back at it. Yeah, because they've been doing it, okay, with a capital I, since September, in my opinion. Here's the thing, they were probably having the fun, sex, secret, sexy affair and banging from, in my opinion, you want my opinion, September to when they got caught. Okay. They were doing it. And I think maybe in the summer they were like making like kissing or like starting other stuff, but maybe hadn't slept together yet. But if you told me had they slept together, I would say probably yes. But let's just pretend it's from September to then. And then in that time is when Amanda, probably during that time, they both start having feelings beyond just like the chemistry and stuff like that. And then it's like, okay. And then Amanda was probably like, okay, let me like keep going with this until I can like, see if this could be a real thing. Right. And the reason I say Amanda is because I honestly just think that Wes could go either way. Like, I think if it's not turning into a relationship, he'd be fine with that. I think Amanda would rather it turn into a relationship because that's just how she is. So yeah. So Lindsay's right. It doesn't make any sense. Like, nothing about it makes sense. This was going on. This was a, 6-7 month affair at least. And based on what we see of last summer's Summer House, there's nothing that's going to convince me otherwise. So this is, again, just him trying to kind of like twist. He's trying to make a circular peg fit into a square hole to just kind of try and shut everyone up. And let's not forget, like, even if we go back to the Mia date, it was confirmed at the Southern Hospitality reunion that Mia and Wes slept together. Okay. And then Mia even told us that Amanda came up to her at BravoCon to tell her that she had pre-gamed and said she was very nice to her. That's Amanda checking in. Like, I've said this before, but that's Amanda checking in to see, is Wes still hooking up with Mia, first of all? That's her laying claim. Me and West are closer. I know you banged him and had your one night date, but like, fuck off, basically, because I'm moving in now. And that's her way of like pissing all over her territory. That's what she's doing. And she probably got what she needed from Mia, which was like, oh yeah, he was nice, whatever. But that's it, for Mia, that was it, right? She hooked up with him. They had a good time. They had good sex. She's over it, right? And that was how Amanda was going to get the information that she needed, because we know that she's already hooking up with West at this point. She's already catching feelings for him, but we know she doesn't trust him, because how could anyone trust him? He's a liar. He's got a million girls on his roster. It's just like, it's crazy. Now, in terms of the whole Miha thing, he says during this West whiteboard video, whatever we're going to call it, that because they were like, what about you sending her? Sorry, I'm kind of jumping around to different topics, but that was sort of the Mia topic done. So Sierra and Miha, basically, why'd you send her flowers on Valentine's Day? He said he also sent them to his mom and a producer, and that he was just like slutty with sending out flowers. But again, this is so West. He tries to, this is what he does. Let me make all the women feel special, while at the same time, none of them are special, because I'm just keeping all my options open. If you told me that whoever this producer is that he sent flowers to, that he slept with her too, I would not be shocked. But yeah, he said that he sent them to everyone. So basically it means nothing, which is really shitty, because he knows that it's going to mean something to someone. Because when you send them to someone who it doesn't mean anything and you are truly just friends, okay, that's fine. But when you send it to people that have feelings for you and that you're leading on, that's what makes you a fuckboy. Miha has feelings for you and you're sending them anyways, even though you have no intention of being faithful or monogamous with her or pursuing a long-term relationship going forward. That's what's really messed up, right? So they also ask about, the racial dynamics when it comes to Sierra. And Wes basically is like, yeah, it's bad. And then his friend, so one of the friends in the video is Black, and he says that's fucked up, and does call him on it. So that was good. And he's like, it is different for women of color on the show and all this kind of stuff. And West, he's like, I know maybe you're not trying to be that dude, but you are being that dude. So I was glad that he called him on that. I don't think it's going to change West's actions. I just don't. Now, when it comes to the reunion and the drugs, West confirms that he and Amanda were both on beta blockers and Xanax. Thank you. I've been saying that from the jump. That was Xanax. That was not a beta blocker. But it makes way more sense. I was like, are you on a horse tranquilizer? What are we doing? They ask about when Amanda stormed off crying and Wes stayed on the stage. And he says he was worried about the optics of both of them disappearing. And he prioritized optics over comforting her. Yeah, exactly. That's people's point. That you suck. Not that I care about Amanda being comforted, but when asked about getting physically intimate, they note that Amanda jumped in and answered for him. And then they press West on why did Amanda jump in and answer for you? And he just says next, and they move on. So I don't know about that. I don't know. He denies hooking up with Jen Fessler. He says never happened. She's a nice lady. But he's like, me and Amanda have lied so much that anything we say that is the truth won't be believed. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, Boy Who Cried Wolf. You never read that when you were little? It's one of the most basic stories. Working with Dumois, because some people say he works with Dumois. He says he's not on her payroll, not working with her, and that not all press is good press. Trying to replace the OGs. So the thing I was talking about earlier, trying to get them fired and move in their place. He says no. He cared enough to personally text a Bravo producer to clear it up. Okay, I didn't really get what that meant, but I think he was, maybe not in an aggressive way, like texting the producers and being like, I want them fired. I want to be the star. I don't think he's doing that, But do I think he's planting little seeds along the way? Like, well, these two are going on in the city. Well, I mean, Lindsay's got a baby now. Hey, producers, I have some hilarious friends I can bring on this show, and they're so dramatic and crazy. You want me to bring them on? Like, it's the passive stuff, because that's how West and Amanda work. They're passive, backdoor, behind your back, sneaky. They're not like aggressive in your face. And people who do that do it on purpose, so they can always have plausible deniability. It's very manipulative. Now, in terms of being manipulative and calculated, he says no, he just wakes up and lives his life. Exactly, because people who are truly calculated and manipulative, they're not going to admit it. And they're always going to say, no, I just like am living in the moment. I just thought that was a good idea at the time. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, they never will admit that they plan everything out, right? Even like Amanda's cryptic IG post, like Wes is like, none of those have anything to do with me. She was just like trying to be like moody single Tumblr girl. Okay, like, but why, if she's trying to be single Tumblr girl, why is everything about being in a relationship? He's like, well, it could be about someone else. She like went on a date with this guy once. Like, you don't post like you and me as trees and all this other stuff from going on one date. Like, we're not stupid. Okay, so again, he says he had love for Amanda for a while, but not in love. Okay, whatever. Admits that he at the Yankees game that Amanda does think that she said act like you like me, because he was pulling back on any physical affection because he didn't want to draw attention to them, which sounds like complete bullshit, because all these guys do is all these two do is try to get attention, it feels like, especially West. But yeah, he confirms that she did say that. What else? He met Amanda's parents, said it went well. Okay, good luck with that. They went to Italy for his cousin's wedding. They were photographed spitting olives at each other. Someone snapped it, whatever. Okay, but it did happen. She approved this whole whiteboard thing before they filmed it. She was nervous. She approved it anyway. So see, this is what I told you. Just like I think these guys are there planning it ahead of time. Even Amanda had a say in this whiteboard thing. That's why I'm taking it with a grain of salt. Okay. What else? When asked where he sees himself in 2 years, Amanda's backyard is what he says. Then immediately says it's really hard to know right now because there's just so much going on. So I don't know. It sounds like he's saying that he sees a future by saying Amanda's backyard, but maybe he's just saying that now because that's what Amanda wants him to say. I don't know. Okay, so in terms of Andy and the aftermath, Wes says he felt terrible about the whole Watch What Happens Live and lying to Andy's face, and that he has apologized directly, and that they've spoken multiple times since the reunion. Okay, fine. I mean, like, it's like you lied to your boss's face directly, and I think Andy's just kind of like, I'm not going to like completely close the door because, like, there's always like a possibility of a future or him coming back or something. So I guess that's kind of why he's not completely cutting him off. But I also think that West is like taking from it maybe what he needs mentally so that he feels like there's a chance that he could be redeemable one day. And I'm sure Andy, like, I'm sure anyone on Bravo who becomes the villain to such an extreme or goes through a scandal like this, Andy's going to check in or at least be cordial or somewhat kind. Because, like, the last thing he needs is like some former reality star suing him for mental health and Bravo didn't support us, or God forbid something extreme happens, like has happened on other shows like Love Island. You don't want that kind of situation. So, it's not like Andy's not going to be like, I'm not talking to you. Fuck you, Wes. Like, he's not going to, that would just be stupid. Right. And just bad business and everything for him. And then Wes has said in this that he felt like Andy was defending him and Amanda on his radio show last week. I don't recall that. And whenever there's a clip of Andy talking about Wes and Amanda, I usually it comes across my feed. I feel like I would have remembered that. Like the only thing I can remember that is even close to that is Andy saying that, like, yeah, I would hope the Knicks would win, the game at home instead of in game 5 or whatever. I would hope that too if I was Wes. I wouldn't say it out loud, but like, so I guess that was kind of him, like, because people were pissed about that. So I guess that was kind of him being like, well, yeah, if any of us were Wes, we would want less attention on this too. I don't know if that's defending, unless there's some other clip I missed. But I think that's just West trying to kind of make himself feel better about this situation. Because, like, he had a good situation. He was on a good show, highly rated show. He was liked. He was one of the stars. Now he's fired. There's really no foreseeable future on Bravo. It seems like there was supposed to be some kind of Ozark spinoff thing, and now that's kaput. So, yeah, he really did himself in. Okay. What else do we have? Oh, yeah. He says he can see a light with his damaged cast relationships and is hopeful things can be mended. I don't know about that. I just don't like, I think it's not just the Amanda thing. I think it's like the insidiousness of it, like not just the Amanda thing, but like kind of trying to steal Kyle's life, get them fired. Like, it's just too much. Like, I don't think anyone in that group is going to trust you. But I also think that he's still thinking 10 steps ahead. And he's still thinking, well, when they have fully transitioned in the city, who knows, maybe one day, blah, blah, blah. I think he's a bit delusional. But yeah, because I mean, things will move on. And the other thing he doesn't realize is, like, while you're on pause, new dynamic castmates will come and people will literally forget about you. And it's not like he's not like a Dorinda or someone who has so many iconic, memorable moments that, they'll always like a Nene who, like, they'll never be forgotten and will always welcome them back. He's just not one of those. He's barely mediocre, So, like, I don't know what he's thinking. The ego of a man. Okay. In terms of not returning to Summer House, he said he's happy to sit in the penalty box. You're not in the penalty box, though. This is what I just finished saying. Like, I'm acting like him and I are having a conversation. We're not. But I'm just saying, like, he seems to think he's on pause. You're not on pause. I'm sure someone told him he was on pause, maybe to lessen the blow. I don't know. But you're fired. You're fired, and that's it. Okay? Okay, so I think this Summer House Amanda West horse is officially dead, as they say, and beaten. And I'm kind of happy. I mean, I know I say this every week. Every week I'm like, I'm happy to move on. But then more stuff comes out. And I mostly blame West because he keeps doing interviews. And then I can't not cover it because, quite frankly, people want to hear it. Okay. And you can't be like in my comments or whatever being like, stop talking so much about Summer House. Literally no one has ever said that. So I'm making up a pretend person. But, these episodes are getting a lot of downloads. So people must want to listen to it. So yeah, I got to cover it. But I am going to come back with another episode this week that is going to have everything else. Vanderpump Rules, New Jersey, Beverly Hills, Atlanta, Rhode Island, the Valley, In the City, unrelated to Amanda and West, Miami. I've got a whole bunch. Southern Charm. I think I've got like everything for that show. So that's great. So we'll get some Amanda and West news. But yeah, this episode we needed the full one to kind of just close this envelope, stamp it, and send it away so it can get lost in the mail. Not the episode, the topic. And so we can kind of move forward. I think it's summer. They're filming the new season. I think we're all ready to move forward from this scandal. And now really the next big news is just going to be waiting for those two to break up. And that's it. I think I'm good with that. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this jam-packed Summer House special episode. To all my Canadian listeners, wishing you a happy Canada Day coming up on July 1st. And to all my American listeners, wishing you a great July 4th long weekend. And I hope that you all get to celebrate and have some time with family and some time to relax. And for everyone who's not from those two countries, I just hope you have a great week. And if there's another holiday that you're celebrating that I forgot about, I'm sorry. Wishing you all the best, and you are now in the know for everything Summer House. Till next time, bye.